Welcome to Almost Pro Bites, where we take a small bite at the big topics in sport. Wearable technology has exploded over the past decade, from smartwatches and GPS vests to heart rate monitors, recovery rings, and AI-powered coaching apps. Athletes have access to more data than ever before. But does all that data actually improve performance, or are athletes becoming so reliant on numbers that they're losing the ability to trust their own instincts? If you didn't record your run, did it even happen?
Apparently not. We're tracking our sleep, our heart rate, our stress levels, our recovery, our calories, our steps. Honestly, I'm surprised my watch hasn't started judging my life choices. Maybe it should. And athletes have taken it even further. You know, GPS vests, force plates, wellness scores, recovery scores, readiness scores. We've never had more information about the human body. But our question today is around, are all these numbers actually making athletes better? You know, are wearables actually making athletes better?
Such a good question. And I mean, I wear a wearable just to get through my day, not because I'm an athlete. I think you can see it's become just culturally accepted. It used to be that you had a nice watch in whatever tone or hue suited you. And now we've got these kind of chunky and boxy things that everyone wears, right? So not long ago, this technology belonged almost exclusively to professional sport, but we're seeing weekend runners with their GPS and junior footballers with their tracking vests. Recovery rings are telling athletes whether they're ready to train or ready for another coffee. Not even kidding. But you can understand why. Instead of guessing, athletes are now measuring so much: their training loads, their sleep, their heart rates, their recovery. It's like having a coach in your pocket / on your wrist 24 hours a day. I get it.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Absolutely is, you know, and it's so accessible now. And there are some genuine performance benefits to this. You know, for coaches, wearables can help monitor fatigue before it becomes injury. That's a benefit. You know, they can even individualize training rather than giving every athlete, you know, the same session or the same basis of a session. They can identify trends over weeks and months that you simply couldn't see before.
Yeah.
So I think instead of asking, like, how hard did training feel, they can then compare the data, you know, and that's important.
Not the smiley chart. Like, are you cranky after training? Is it neutral, or are you very happy?
I think for me anyway, the coaches could tell that without any form of a wearable. It was very evident. Is the racket in one piece at the end of this session? We're doing well. But they're not just helping athletes. You know, for everyday people too, they can be incredibly motivating.
Right?
Watching your resting heart rate improve is low-key and exciting, right? You know, seeing yourself run further than last month, huge motivation. Finally hitting your daily activity goal, that's like winning the lottery. And sometimes just being able to see progress, you know, is exactly what people need to keep going and keep exercising.
And that is the global agenda, is to keep humans moving, like long into life, you know, but we're seeing earlier we're needing motivating for our young people. So I think, you know, it's not just something that the weekend athletes debating. We're seeing it play out at the elite sport level now in how should these be managed? What is the line for how much of this can come into the competitive arena? You would have seen, and I know you would have seen this because it was the Australian Open, some of the world's biggest tennis stars, Alcaraz, Spinner, Sabalenka, they were actually told they couldn't wear their Whoop fitness trackers during matches. And it created a fascinating discussion for people like you and I who sit on the sidelines of sport, but amongst others, because the device doesn't actually coach the player or tell them where to hit the ball or any of those things that would change the way that the person's playing. It just takes a record. It creates a record of heart rate and the physiological load. So, but the officials said they're off, right? Take them off. And it raised a question, I think, worth asking. If the wearable isn't actively helping during the match, would you consider it performance enhancing? Because those were the grounds for it needing to be removed, as I understand it. But the question is it not just simply measuring what's already happening?
Yeah, no, that's a really great example as well, because particularly with that example, you know, where is the line? You know, with that particular device, you know, that was approved by other bodies within the same sport, but then it's not able to be worn at this event or at these types of events. So it really gets you thinking, you know, where do you draw the line? Today, it's a heart rate tracker. You know, tomorrow is it AI analyzing your fatigue in real time or coaching you between points? Technology is moving so fast, and sport has to decide where fairness ends and performance enhancement begins. I think, and I think the irony is the biggest danger might not be having the data. It might actually be believing the data more than yourself. You know, that starts to play into the whole mental side of an athlete. We've all heard it, you know, my watch says I'm exhausted or my recovery score is terrible. We're almost changing how we behave and how motivated we are and what our mental state is according to the data that we're seeing rather than trusting ourselves with that.
Right.
You know, even though the athlete might feel fantastic, it just puts that seed of doubt of, okay, if my device is telling me I'm exhausted, then clearly I am exhausted and I just haven't had that awareness of it yet.
Because it reads as we're outsourcing self-awareness.
Exactly.
Right. So elite athletes still need something that no wearable can replace. They still need bodily awareness and instinct in the way that they play. So your body probably does know more than your watch, but your watch notices the things that maybe you're not seeing. The best athletes know how to create that balance. I would say technology is not the enemy, and we've had a number of conversations about technology. I think this is about helping athletes achieve the things we couldn't measure 20 or so years ago. But it is still about this data collection vortex, you know, so it's not just about creating more and more data. It's about how we understand it, how we use it, and how we then combine it, the science layer with the experience layer, the tech with the instinct, so that self-awareness is not taken away by numbers. That's the real performance advantage in all of this. And no wearable can figure out how to measure courage or resilience or the core components of sport that you and I talk about quite frequently, how to keep composed under pressure. No wearable can take away the moment when an athlete simply refuses to give up, which is awesome, right? I'm grateful for that because those things are still the human layers of sport.
But if there's a wearable that can fix the confidence issue, I'm in. If there's a wearable that can mentally sustain me at like 5 love, 40 love down and to have some kind of great comeback, I'll buy it.
No. I've seen this in players. It can happen. Let it. But you're saying if there's a shortcut, I'll take it.
That's it.
Well, I think it's worth saying we've entertained ourselves, if no one else.
Absolutely. But I am interested. What does everyone else think? What do you think? Are wearables making athletes better, or are we becoming a little too obsessed with the numbers? Let us know your thoughts on our socials. Follow Almost Pro, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll catch you next time for another bite-sized look at the stories behind sport. See you then.